What's up, guys? Anthony from Anthony's Customs back. This time I'm reviewing my newest custom figure. This is a character from the Gargoyles animated TV show back in the 90s. This is DEMONA. This is the female gargoyle. Sometimes she's a good guy, kind of. Sometimes she's a bad guy. So she's a pretty interesting character. Really popular character. The customer commissioned this one, so it's not available for sale. This is by far the most troublesome custom I've ever made. Way too much work went into this one, but I think it turned out well. The customer's happy so far, and she's getting some praise around the internet. So let's go ahead and talk about the figure. First things I want to talk about are the sculpted parts. So let's look at her head. Sculpted the hair. 90% of the hair is sculpted. There's a little bit in there that is just the original hair from the base figure, which I'll get into. But the whole front part and the side part of the head, that's all sculpted hair. And then the little tiara, crown thing, whatever you want to call that, is sculpted. The ears are sculpted. The earrings are actually made from gold links that I cut down and shaped to be the right size. The wings, this was the hardest part of the whole figure. It's really hard to find wings in this scale, especially ones that look the way you want them to. These are from a McFarlane dragon figure. It had scales and spikes, and the ribs were in there for the middle part of the wings. I had to reshape the whole wing basically, and do a lot of sculpting and sanding, and add the little hands at the top to make it more accurate. Really not a fun job, but I think it turned out okay, so hopefully the customer is happy. I also had to connect them, which also was a big problem. As you can see, I got them sculpted in there, so it looks pretty seamless right now. But getting them on was not that easy, and making them sturdy was the bigger problem. I sculpted the shirt, sculpted the armband and the ankle jewelry thing, sculpted the hands, and I sculpted the feet. Now I sculpted the feet on top of Blackheart feet, so it helped me a little bit there. But really the only part that's the same as Blackheart is the joint now. The whole foot is completely resculpted. So that was a lot of work too, but it looks okay. The base figure is Anne O'Brien from the Legendary Comic Book Heroes. Anne was a little bit taller than a standard Marvel Legends figure anyway. We wanted that for the gargoyle figure, but after adding the Blackheart feet and with her knees bent and everything, she still stands at about 7 inches tall. If I straighten out the feet, she's about 7.5, 7 3/4. If you count the wings, she's nearly 10 inches tall, but you don't really have to count that. 9.5 maybe. So I just basically sculpted on top of the Anne O'Brien. I shaved down her shirt, shaved down her shirt sleeves. I did this. I took the head off first because I really needed to get to that head and do a lot of work on it. Then I just added the loincloth thing and the belt. It's on the back as well. And I had to use Blackheart's tail. That's been modified. Everything really has been modified that's been used. The only thing that really stayed the same is the lower torso, aside from what I added to it, and the upper legs. Everything else has been changed. This figure really had a lot of work put into it. I'm going to estimate at least 30 hours worth of work in this one. Probably more like 40, but I'm just taking a guess here. I'm glad it turned out well. I'm glad I worked on it. I don't mean to sound like I didn't like the figure or anything. I'm just saying it's not a job to be taken lightly, so if you're going to make a gargoyle figure, do some research before you do it, and make sure you know how you're going to do it, because there's a lot that has to go into it. I didn't expect it to be this difficult, so I encourage you, if you're going to try to make one, to go ahead and make it, but make sure you plan ahead and get your parts all laid out ahead of time. So, there you have it. There is my DEMONA Marvel Legends scale gargoyle action figure. Made it for Greg. Thanks, Greg, for commissioning the figure. I hope you enjoy it once you get it. That's really all I have to say for the figure. It was a lot of fun working on it, even though it was a lot of work. So keep an eye out for more custom reviews. Keep an eye out for some more Transformers reviews and other figures like that. And as always, in the meantime, keep collecting.